Welcome to Education Exchange Live. I'm Marie Hawkins, your hostess. Tonight we have as our guest Larry Kelley, who's the retiring choral director at West High School. Welcome to Education Exchange Live, Larry.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. Now, would you tell us a little bit about your choral group at West High School, please?
Well, it was 1969, and I took the job. The school had been open for 1 year, and I came the second year it was open, and that was 28 years ago, and I've been the choral director there all these years. And we started with one high school choir and one junior high choir, and we've grown now to 5 choirs. There's the varsity singers and the sophomore singers, the freshman singers, the chamber choir, and also our rather well-known Good Time Company.
Well, that is very interesting, because I assumed you only had the Good Time Company and one chorus. I didn't realize that you had all of those choirs. That is really interesting. Now, since you've been there that long, how do you keep motivated?
Well, the students keep me motivated, of course, and Iowa City has unusual amounts of talent among their children, and there's always new music. I never get hung up in too much of yesterday's ideas, so we've kept alive, and it's been a good tenure there at West High.
Well, I guess I'm more familiar with the Good Time Company, because I've seen them in presentations when we've had club meetings and things, and they have been there, so that I know that about that. So I understand that this next video, this video you brought, is about the Good Time Company.
Yeah, the first clip or video that it will be shown here actually is the Good Time Company on a trip to California. Actually, the film was made at the NBC studios in Burbank, and the group was there on a national competition representing the state of Iowa. And a very interesting thing in the middle of the film, you'll see a song called "The Jazz Hot," and the young lady that sings the opening solo in that is now something of a star on Melrose Place. She plays the part of Sydney. Okay. And a lot of people are interested, of course, in that when I show these older tapes, who's who and who has become famous and that sort of thing. So.
Well, let's look at this clip. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. It opens
Iowa City
with
West High School's
music.
The Good Time Company.
No, we're off. Our mics are off. Okay.
We can be cold as a fall in thermometer in December if we ask about our weather in July. And we're so fine, not stubborn, we can stand touchy noses for a week at a time and never say eye to eye. But what the heck, you're welcome, glad to have you with us. Even though we may not ever mention it again, we really have to give Iowa, Hawkeye, Iowa, to 51, Platform, Hawkeye, Racing, you're not here, Iowa City. 76 trombones and
group of fellas found a new kind of music, and they decided to call it jazz. No other sound has what this music has. Before they knew it, it was whizzing round the world. The world was ready for a blue kind of music, and now they play it from Steamboat Springs to La Paz.
Baby, play me like jazz hats, baby, and don't ever let it end. I tell your friend it's really something to hear. Wah, 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 wah. I can't sit still when there's that crazy something near me.
That was delightful. And could you tell me a little bit about why you chose that song to present in Burbank, California?
Well, of course, we were representing the state of Iowa at this event. There were selected choirs from each of the 50 states there, and we happened to be representing Iowa. So our thought was to do the music of an Iowa composer, and of course Meredith Wilson from Mason City had composed The Music Man, so we chose that because it opens with the Iowa Stubborn, and then it went to the Trouble Here in River City, and representing Iowa.
Now that's very interesting. How many choirs, I assume you competed to get this honor to go to Burbank. How many choirs were competing in this to get that?
Well, there were 30-some states that were represented at this event, and we, in the final analysis, we came in 4th place, which is quite
it's
good.
Quite an honor.
Yeah,
yes.
It was an honor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now tell us about the next clip that you have.
Well, the next clip represents the large efforts that we do with our high school orchestra. Linda Jones is our orchestra director, and each year we put together all the string and a few wind players and all of our singers, and we produce masterworks. And this year, less than a month ago, we actually performed the Mozart Requiem. And the Mozart Requiem is an extended work that was done with our orchestras and choirs. And one of my favorite movements from that is the Lacrimosa, and that'll be on the upcoming video clip, a performance
That's
of the
great.
Lacrimosa.
I'm looking forward to hearing that. Okay, let's see the next clip. That was very, very interesting. Would you tell us a little bit about it and then about your next clip?
Okay, well, what you were seeing here, there's wasn't particularly interesting camera work on it, but it does show something that can only happen in 5 or 6 high schools in Iowa, because we have the quality orchestra to be able to produce something like the Mozart Requiem. So City High also has a fine orchestra, and there are maybe 3 or 4 others in the state, but again, it's something that's a little bit unique to our program at West High to do these masterworks. The next clip that you'll see actually is the Varsity Singers, and this is the group that's comprised of juniors and seniors at West High School. And again, the Varsity Singers are fairly well traveled, and on occasion are invited to do special performances. And I do have a clip or a videotape here of the Varsity Singers performing at KGAN. We're doing sort of a Christmas kind of special, and we have a song called Sleigh Ride that we were doing, and I think we could play a bit of that. It demonstrates the Varsity Singers from West High School.
Hey everybody, let's go for a sleigh ride! Let's go for a sleigh ride, a wonderful sleigh ride. Come hurry along with the song of a wintry will to fly. Just hear those sleigh bells tingling, ring, ting, tingling too. Come on, it's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride together with you. Take a ride outside, the snow is falling and friends are calling you. Come on, it's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. Yeah, the show. We're riding in a wonderland of snow. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, it's grand. Just holding your hand. We're riding along with the song of a wintry fairyland. Our cheeks are nice and rosy and comfy, cozy are we. We're snuggled up together like two birds of a feather would be. Let's take the road before us and sing a chorus or two. Come on, it's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride together with you. It's a birthday party at the home of Farmer Gray. It'll be the perfect ending of a perfect day. We'll be singing the songs we love to sing without a single stop. At the fireplace while we watch the chestnuts pop. Pop, pop, pop. There's a happy feeling nothing in this world can buy. When they pass around the coffee and the pumpkin pie, it'll nearly be like a picture print of career and eyes. These wonderful things are the things we remember all through our lives. Just hear those sleigh bells ringling, ting. Just hear those sleigh bells tingling, ring, ting, tingling. It's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride. Come on, it's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling and friends are calling you. It's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride. Come on, it's lovely, wonderful sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. Yeah, the show. We're riding in a wonderland of snow. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up, it's grand. Just hold your hand. Hold your hand. We're riding along with the song of a wintry fairyland. Our cheeks are nice and rosy and comfy, cozy are we. We're snuggled up together like two birds of a feather would be. Let's take that road before us and sing a chorus or two. Come on, it's lovely weather, it's lovely weather, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Sleigh ride!
That was a very good show, and I noticed that you brought 2 clips so far that shows that you have gone around to different places to perform, and I just wondered what percentage of your time do you spend in other cities or other facilities performing?
Well, I think we've done some traveling every year that I've taught, but the big trips probably average every other year. Recently, this past spring, in fact, just a couple weeks ago, we did a Florida trip, and we've performed in New Orleans 2 years ago for the National Association of School Administrators. And then we've performed in California, as you saw on an earlier videotape, and we also have performed twice in New York. at the famous Avery Fisher Hall, and at a church there we've performed. And
The one that you did in California, I mean in Florida just recently, was that at Disney World?
It was, yeah. That's the
I
place.
understand they had a number of people going there for that. Did you see many? Did you know that other people were performing? Or did you see many?
We were part of the Magic Music Days, which attracts groups from all over the nation, and we were also part of the Collegiate Showcase, which is college groups. But we performed in exhibition with the college groups at a special event down there.
Now tell us about your next clip.
Okay, well, our next clip actually was filmed just a couple months ago, and it happens to be our current students. And this year, as part of our look, we start out in bright purple, but the clip that I brought actually is when we decide to shift the mood on the stage, and we come on with leather jackets, and we do a song called Renegade, and then there's attached to that is a song called Footloose, and this will be this year's students that'll be seen on this next video.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. No man has put an end to my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you are crying, you're so scared and all alone. Hey, man is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long.
That seems like a large group that you have there. About how many students do you work with, say, in a day?
Well, I work with 200 students altogether throughout, at the various performances and rehearsals. But yeah, the group that you saw on film here is the Good Time Company, and we have gotten larger this year, up to 50 singers. We usually have 40 singers, but we went up to 50 this year because it is my final year with West High School, and I wanted to have more students have more involvement this year. So
That's great.
We got larger.
Well, I just wondered, if you've got 200 students and the population at West is what, about 1,400?
Yeah.
And you must have a good percentage of your students involved in orchestra or band or the
There's
different...
carryover, yes,
Yes.
between orchestra, band, and choir. There's some carryover.
Was there anything else you wanted to tell us about your groups that you had? I noticed you had some groups from different ages, from different years, I should say.
Yeah, the videos that we've been watching are not all of this year. The first one actually took place in 1985. That was the one at the NBC studios in Burbank. Then the next clip was this year's performers doing the Mozart Requiem. The third clip actually came from the late 80s. I'm not exactly sure the year, but it was in the late 80s. And then, of course, the final clip again was current students. So we've seen things from the 80s and the 90s.
About how long does it take you to get ready? Say if you come in at the beginning of the school year, how long does it take you before you're ready to go out and perform, get a group ready?
Well, we usually, the first performance we do is usually not until late November. We usually go out on a tour sometime around the week before Thanksgiving. And from then on, we perform at least once a week for the rest of the school year. So we run an active program after we once get our act together, but it does take quite a bit of time to get it together. And much of what you've seen here is certainly not all my work. I have an assistant director, Jim Barry, and we have two people that help stage our students. Jim's wife, Ann Barry, is one of our stagers, and then Jason Jen is our other stager. And the four of us team up. We also have Michael Puffett out there that helps. So we have a fairly large team of teachers and choreographers to put all this together.
Well, listen, thank you, Larry, for being on our show, on Education Exchange Live, and I hope you have a happy retirement.
Well, and thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to be here.
This is the end of our show. If you're interested in being on our show, would you call 339-6800, Julie Johnston, or call John Karhoff at West High School.